So last time you came in, we went over some of the basics of our approach. We talked about Trigger Man, um, kind of how to start implementing that hopefully in some of the things that you're going through in daily life right now. So give me an update. What's been helpful for you? Was there anything that you really didn't like about what we went over?
Yeah, the Triggerman model was interesting. It did seem to help me understand how I generate behavior better. The guy that invented that's an absolute genius. Let's just say that out loud. And what it's done for me, as I think intended, is it's helped me understand um, where I can be mindful. And I always thought mindfulness was just this thing people said, and I didn't quite understand it. But now I can kind of see an illustration, and I think of that image, and then like mindfulness makes total sense, and it's so easy and it's so natural. So I've been trying to like be aware of like how I brush my teeth and my morning routine and the little habits that I have throughout the day that make up my behavior. So I found it really cool to not really be doing any work, but just to be observant over what I'm doing in life. And I think that was really helpful. That was a good start, and it gives me something to do other than worry about my rotten daughter.
I love that. So I love that you're already able to kind of start using it and just bring a little more mindfulness and awareness. So we also kind of mentioned at least the trigger search. So kind of looking at some of those things in the environment that might be creating the behaviors that aren't really serving you, that don't feel super healthy for you right now. Did you have anything come up since we last met?
Yeah, I feel that, and I'm not sure if I'm doing it right, but like uh, when my daughter comes home, um, and I see her just being lazy, like she'll do several things almost every day when she comes home from school, and to me, I just get angry because I see her doing this, and I think she's being lazy, and I believe she should help out more. So even though she may not have done anything, I'm instantly angry,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that sets a chain of other behaviors that other people respond to. I'm seeming to notice that I might be the cause of a lot of the disharmony in the house.
Mm. Well, I find that really insightful, and hopefully Trigger Man helps a little bit with that because we've talked a lot about how we're all our own kind of decision making machines. We're all our own little factory of those behaviors, right? Um, so especially with our kids, our spouses, people that are super close to us, sometimes it can be helpful to have that kind of separation, remembering that we can only be responsible for those behaviors that we're churning out, just as they are with theirs. So it sounds like that kind of insight came to you over the experiences that you've had the past week.
Yeah, and I think it's helpful to know. It's just I don't know how to stop it. I just get angry instantly, and I find
Mm.
that the best way for me to deal with it is just to leave, just to leave the
Mm.
room or try not to observe it.
Okay. Yeah, and so how we approach that is that anger, that response, that behavior to need to leave is a behavior just like anything else. So, what we can kind of take that back to is I'm sure I gave you my red light example last week, right?
Yep.
So, red lights normally are kind of a neutral stimulus, they're a good thing, right? We all kind of have this social contract that we should stop at them. It's, it's good that we do that. But at certain stoplights that maybe take a long time, they're creating this space of anger for me, and that's not healthy. I don't want to be in a bad mood the rest of the day. So I'm going to reassign that red light trigger to be something that does feel healthier for me. Choosing one more thing on my playlist so that I'm in a better mood, for instance. That's that planned behavior that I chose to reassign it to. And some things are going to be a little bit harder than simply choosing your happy song on a playlist, right? Some of this stuff is really hard to go through the process of reassigning. But that doesn't mean that it can't be done. It's just going to take a little bit more effort, maybe a little bit more playing around with the behavior that makes the most sense to reassign it to. How is that sitting with you?
Well, that's making me think of like when I see my daughter coming in being lazy, and I feel pissed off. What else I can do? Like I can understand. I guess what I want is I want to see her do whatever, even if it's being lazy, and I want to respond in at least a neutral mood.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't necessarily have to be happy about it, but I just don't want the anger. So having trouble trying to figure out what I could target. Like, what's my goal here? What am I
Mm-hmm.
trying to behave like?
Yeah. Yeah, and it sounds like you recognize that the anger is not serving you. It doesn't feel super healthy for you guys.
Definitely.
Um, and as much as I would love to give you the perfect answer for that, um, it is very individual. So for me, maybe working through a little mantra, having my silly little song to work through the red light is what worked for me. Um, but did we go over kind of the behavior scale last week?
A little bit, and I think it was pretty simple too. I think I get it,
Okay.
but you tell me just in case.
And so my favorite takeaway for the behavior scale is really the independence that it gives us. So no one else, no culture, no religious influence, even our spouses, who we obviously want to live in harmony with, get to decide what goes where on our scale. So if we're just kind of looking at our 0 to 10 scale, as far as this is what is making me healthier, this is what's not making me healthier, we get to kind of decide those things for ourselves. And it sometimes can be as simple as, let's look at, I'm weighing these two options. This feels healthier for me, so it makes more sense for me to lean into that option.
Well, that makes sense. So I guess if I had to think about that, the anger would score very, very low because it doesn't serve any purpose. It doesn't generate a benefit. It doesn't motivate me to change or improve. It's just kind of being angry and getting stuck in the anger.
Mm-hmm.
It's still a hard habit to break. I'm still trying to wrestle with what do I need to do in my brain to make that happen? Because I see that I want to be at least neutral. Like being happy, I guess would be weird. Cause I don't know that I want to be happy about her being stupid and lazy, and she's ugly too. But I guess the goal would be just to be neutral, to not have that discontent, that anger, because it doesn't work for us.
Gotcha. Okay, so you kind of know at least the direction that you want to go. And like you said, it does take that mental wrestling. That's not going to happen in, one session right overnight. That it is a process. Change is going to be a little bit of a process. And especially these things that have been kind of conditioned for a while, where it is really frustrating. You don't like to see her doing those things, and it's creating this anger response that is going to take some time and some effort to be able to kind of renegotiate that to at least neutral, as you said.
So then, if I'm aiming at neutral, then what do I have to do to get from where I'm at, which is anger, to the neutral? Like, I kind of see the top of the mountain where I want to get to. I just don't have any clue how to start the journey there. I don't know which way to go. I don't know what to do.
Yeah, yeah, and again, as much as I would love to give you the perfect steps that way, all I can share with you is that we're all kind of through our really unique transformative journeys on our own. So every single time that we're presented with these challenges, so right now, it sounds like having to come home and seeing your daughter being lazy, that is one of life's challenges that is presenting itself on a regular basis for you. Um, so as we kind of go through this cycle of change, we can choose to stay the course. We can deal with the frustration that comes up. We can do all of the mental gymnastics that are probably going to come along with it. Um, we can also choose to bow out, right? We can stick with having that angry, frustrated reaction if we want to give up on the change. But in order to kind of conquer it and find that space where we're not having the anger, frustration, resentment, etc., we have to go through the chaos and the frustration of finding our own way to change. And it's something that can only be done on our own. Um, and that's something that we'll probably go over soon too. We refer to that as the hero's journey. And we always have to be our own hero, right? So as much as we can look to, you know, other heroes and mentors, etc., and they may help us along with our changes, ultimately we have to be the heroes of our own life because we're in control. No one knows your internal system, your decision making machine better than you.
That makes sense. That does. So, and I remember from last time too, we were talking about the healthy state, and in order to stay healthy, I constantly have to learn new stuff, and then practice new stuff. So, are you saying that I can just like learn almost anything, even if it's completely separated from my daughter and her coming home, as long as I'm practicing some new thing, reading a new book, or playing a new instrument or something? That is going to help the whole cycle of change to get jump started.
Absolutely. So, see, you already know this stuff. I'm just hopefully presenting it in a little bit of a way that makes it easier to apply. Um, so, when we can get our brain in kind of that new circuit of accepting change and wanting to learn and being comfortable with that uncomfortable state of I have to learn something new, that's where the things that are a little bit tougher will start coming easier. So the stuff that feels really hard, like accepting maybe some of your daughter's behavior so that you can release anger, or reassigning it to have a different behavior, that starts to feel a little bit easier because you've already kind of primed your brain by accepting change, taking on some new challenges by learning other things too.
Gotcha. Well, that will be my homework then. I'll try to find it, even if it's not necessarily related to the particular struggle I'm trying to work on. I can just make sure I'm learning something new in some way.
Yeah, I love that. And like I said, I'm never gonna give you official homework or expect you to come in with a nicely written journal or anything like that. This is all DIY. It's on you as much as you want to take it. So I love that you kind of have some ideas of where you want to go next. And I'll look forward to checking in and see how that goes next time.
All right. Well, that sounds great. Thank you very much. I feel better already. Of course, my daughter's still really young.